Welcome everyone to Your Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time.
None of that affects how you are going to change the world.
That's right.
No, it does not take one person to change the world, but it takes one person to believe in themselves.
Yes.
That they can make a difference.
I love
to
that.
Inspire others.
And that's why, for me, I try to make it my purpose now to try to help other people realize their self-worth.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad that so many of us, we get destroyed based off of what other people have to say.
Yeah.
I would say do it in your own way. Make sure you're doing it on your own accord and take a risk.
Go out there and live your life passionately. Believe in everything that you're doing and believe in the fact that you will accomplish every single goal. Welcome everyone to Your Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you, considering that it's Black History Month, we want to encourage you to chase your history. No matter what nationality you are or what culture you're from, it is so important that we uncover the past so it can inform our future. Discover as much as you can about your ancestors. Uncover those secrets and those stories that can mean so much to who you are today. And share that with everyone in your life so that they're able to also want to forge on that journey to uncovering the best of themselves by finding out who they were or where they came from in the past. I am your host, LaShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. Please tag a friend. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Oh my God, February is here. My birthday month is gone, but LaShawn is still celebrating, and I'm gonna probably be celebrating until the middle of this month, but it is now February, and this is the time that we celebrate Black history, the excellence of our people, the just amazing magnificence of who we are, where we came from, and what we have contributed to this world. I am so grateful to be in this moment and sharing it also with you guys as always. But I feel like the time is progressing. The year is progressing rather quickly. But being February and being Black History Month, it is so important that we honor our history. And this conversation today will actually show you, every one of you out there, how you can do so. Regardless of where you're from, regardless of what nationality you are. It is so important that you dig a little deeper into your family lineage. Find out about the kings and queens that came before you, the talent that they had inside of them, whether that resonates with the person that you are today. I think it is important that we all go on a journey to uncover those things. I know at one time I wanted to do a genealogy report, and I was like, you know what, I don't think I want to find out too much about too many people. They might find out who I am and where I am. They might want or need a little bit more than I'm willing to give. But I think that it is important that we do some type of family tree. We do some type of just history and heritage uncovering so that we can be closer to who we are and where we came from. So before we go deeply into the conversation today, I do want to share with you what I did this past weekend. I told you guys not too long ago that I'm on this spiritual journey. I'm trying and am so relentless right now in rooting myself deeper into my spirituality. So I am part of this group, this amazing group of men and women from this group called DNP, which is headed by Michelle Brown. And it's called Disciples in Prayer. And what we do, we come together and we just study the Bible and we study the meaning of each scripture. And I try in every way to relate it to who I am and who I want to be in the future. So this past weekend, we were tasked to actually go somewhere. We decided to go to the mall, and we just randomly prayed for people that were in the mall. asked them, of course, if they believed in God, but then asked them if there was something on their heart that they wanted to share or something that they've been praying about. And we just randomly went up to amazing people who were so grateful that we took the time to pray for them. And we did just that. We prayed about their hopes. We prayed about whatever issues they were having in their lives. One gentleman was, happy that we showed up because he was praying for his daughter who has been going through so much lately. So it was just a blessing to be in that moment at that time. It's like we were at the right place at the right time. And we shared all that we could about God and the blessings on our lives and how whatever they have going on, that he would definitely make a way. So it was beautiful, and I'm looking for more opportunities for me to do that because it took me a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not used to doing that. I pray for people all the time. I'm an intercessor. I do those things. But to just randomly go into a mall and just let the Spirit just lead me to that person, it was truly amazing. And then obviously we spoke about, the young ladies that I was with. We spoke about all that we're going through and how it is important for us to just stay in prayer and to stay strong and empowered in the words that are in the Bible. That's what I've been doing lately. And I do advise some of you out there who consider yourself holy people to do the same. It is so fulfilling. It was so enlightening. And more importantly, it literally lifted my spirits. It's something that I needed at this time. So today, we're talking about chasing history. That is actually the title of the show. And we're going to be speaking to an amazing young man about what it is like to chase your history. Go back into your family line and figure out and uncover all that it is. It has in it, all of the beauty that's in it, all of the strength that is in it, all of the amazing people that unfortunately you probably weren't able to meet, but you can identify with because you could very well be just like them. So today, talking about history in Black History Month, I think is apropos. So we're going to be joined by the amazing Chase Ridley. And Chase Ridley is a young man from Elmont, Long Island. He's a senior at Elmont Memorial High School with a passion for science, research, and genealogical exploration. His family history research has taken him from the back roads of North Carolina and the Mississippi Delta to the building of the Panama Canal, uncovering remarkable stories of resilience and legacy. An accomplished student, Chase has excelled in advanced coursework, including AP Human Geography, AP World History, and Science Research. He serves as the president of the Future Business Leaders of America and the Business Honors Society, which also being an active member of several honor societies. His dedication to academics and leadership has earned him accolades such as the Science Congress Senior High Honors Award and the George Eastman Young Leaders Scholarship. Beyond academics, Chase is deeply involved in community service, acting as a PTSA assistant and contributing to the Rewild Garden Project. He has also showcased his skills in business, science, and with arts through various competitions and performances. With a keen eye for research and a drive to make an impact, Chase continues to chase history, both in his family's past and his own promising future. So please help me welcome the amazing, smart, intelligent, oh my God, Chase Ridley. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, my friend. I have heard so many great things about you, and I'm so honored that you're here, especially during Black History Month, to share with us how important it is for us to chase our history. You see what I did there, folks? His name is Chase, and I said chase our history. Yeah, that's why we have the Your Our Unity show. But anyway, so again, thank you for being here. I read so much about everything that you have going on in your life. How do you find the time, seriously, with all of these AP classes and all of these honors, how do you find the time to keep a balanced sort of academic life as well as your personal time to have with your friends and your family? How do you do that?
Yeah, in my recent years, 11th and 12th grade, I've came up with some strategies to help me deal with all these things that I'm doing and courses and research that I'm doing. Recently, I've started writing stuff down. I got a couple journals for Christmas, and writing stuff down really helps me so I can see and check things off as I go. That's one of the things. Also, telling people about your stuff and like so they can help you. Stay on top of it. Like my research, I'm always telling my family about it, and they always ask, "Oh, so what did you do this time? Or did you discover this yet?" And it's always helping me keep on top of my stuff.
Right. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Do you do any sports? Are you athletic as well?
No, I don't do any sports.
Okay.
In the past, I've done track, but not any sports right now.
Wow. So what are your hopes for the future? Like, what do you actually strive to achieve in your future?
Yeah, I've researched a lot about different majors and stuff as I'm in 12th grade, looking at colleges. I plan to go to a college. Right now, I've gotten into a couple.
Oh, nice.
And it's looking like Loyola University in Maryland
Okay.
is likely where I'll be going.
Oh, wow. He wants to move away from home. I don't know if mom and dad is happy about that, my friend. But yes, that's excellent. What would be your major?
Some business, finance, economics
Okay.
field.
Okay.
I love talking about money and learning about money, and
Don't we
I think
all?
that's great.
I love that. I love that. So, how was your experience in high school? Because now you're graduating. How was your experience in high school? And are you looking forward to this next chapter?
I really enjoyed my time in high school. I really enjoyed the classes I took. AP World History, AP US History. I'm a big fan of history and geography, so those classes really grabbed my attention. Science courses as well. I loved learning about science, and those classes really, helped me enjoy school and enjoy my time in high school. Making friends as well was an amazing part of it. And so, I'm really looking forward to meeting new people and trying new things in college.
I love that. Well, from the first day that you walked into high school, let's think back, ninth grade. Well, I know your school starts at like 7th grade, but you're technically not in high schooler until
Yes.
9th grade. What do you think you've learned about yourself in these 4 years, and how have you grown?
One thing I think I've learned about myself is probably that I enjoy learning new things. I really enjoy learning about different cultures and learning about different parts of history and learning about different things that probably you wouldn't learn on a normal basis, and taking that extra step and going and actually researching stuff on my own and going deeper into it. I really enjoy learning those type of things. So that's probably one thing I've learned about myself.
I love that.
And yeah.
I love that. What do you think sparked that? I mean, was there any particular instance that you can recall that it was like, I think I need to, start researching different nationalities and cultures and even my own, figuring out, who I am and where I came from. Do you know any particular instance where that was like
Yeah.
a light bulb? What was it?
So it was Christmas of 2021.
Okay.
My cousin, she found these pictures of my great-grandparents, and she made it in a slideshow and showed the whole family on Christmas. And back then, I've never seen any pictures of them before, so this was my first time seeing them, and I was very shocked because I've seen my great aunts and my grandparents and stuff, but to see their mother and imagine like these were their kids. They were at one point babies, and it was amazing to see like this is my great grandparent, and like to see the house that they lived in. That was probably the moment, because actually that same night, that's the same night I got Ancestry.com and started building the tree that same night.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, I came from a family where they really didn't share a lot about our family lineage, but we did hear stories about my grandfather and my great grandfather and my aunts, and they did have a lot of old pictures and things like that. Was your household like that as well? Before your what you said, your cousin actually showed the photos, were you guys discussing that over like Thanksgiving or Christmas, like way back when?
Yeah, so I've seen it a lot in my research. My family is very interested about, talking about their history and talking about their ancestors. For example, this book here was from the 1990 family reunion of my family in North Carolina, where we got all the Duprees from my family come, and we had a family reunion there, and they discussed stuff like this. My grandfather actually recorded it on his one of the big recording cameras from like the 80s that you sit on your shoulder. And he had VHS tapes that I was able to see and watch and actually see what they were talking about.
Right.
And they're always sharing stuff. And my
love
aunt
that.
Naomi actually wrote down history in this book and about our family. And so it really, it showed that they cared about their history as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's very, very important. And you share with me, I mean, considering it's Black History Month, do you believe that Black history is still being uncovered, or what ways do you believe Black history is still being uncovered and told today?
Yeah, I definitely do, because there's always more people out there who have done impressive things that just haven't seen the light today. And even in my own family, finding new things about things that they've done, successes they've had that we didn't know about before. And there's tons of people out there who have done amazing things and just haven't had the platform or spotlight to share those things.
Yeah.
So there's definitely stuff out there that still needs to be discovered.
I love that. I love that. And you think it's very important that we all, especially the youth too, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. I mean, considering, this came about for you in 2021, are your friends aware of what you've been doing? Are they at all inspired to do the same?
Not so much.
Really?
I haven't talked to them a lot about it. But I've been definitely inspired my family. My family has gotten really interested. Every time you have a family gathering or something, they always ask, "Oh, what did you find this time?" Or did you make a new discovery here? And they're definitely really into it now. And I'm open to definitely sharing with them. And I love sharing it.
No, I think that you should. I really do. I mean, I think a lot of history is lost, and I also think for the most part, a lot of us sort of go wayward, when we don't know where we came from and who we came from. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There could have been so many intelligent and strong people in our family line that we're not aware of, and yet we're not living up to that potential. I feel that if we knew a little bit more about our lineage, that we would want to sort of move in that excellence. There was a lot of sacrifices made. There was a lot of obvious with slavery and things of that nature. I mean, they did have to experience a lot, but I know that they also had to dig deep within themselves in order for them to overcome some of those things. And in doing that, it's, to me, a representation of who we are. We came from that. So there's nothing that we cannot achieve. There's nothing we cannot do. And there's nothing that we cannot have as long as we put our mind to it. So I think it's so important for the youth to realize that, especially when, we're in a day and time of everything is on the phone and, is at your fingertips, and you're not really digging into the depth of who you actually are. And I think what you're doing is so important for that. So you did your genealogy report. You traced your family history across different regions and time periods. What has been the most challenging part of this journey?
So there's a couple of challenging things when doing genealogy, especially doing African American genealogy. Slavery was such a big part of history and our history that it affects genealogy research. Right. So, for example, getting past the 1865 mark is a really challenging task for African Americans who are doing genealogy research because even up to the 1900s, records get scarce, and there's not a lot of, they didn't keep good records of African Americans back there. So it takes a little more effort to find those. So that's been a really challenging thing. Now I've gotten past the 1800s, the 1860s.
Nice.
I've actually gotten back to 1795.
Wow.
Which is the farthest I've gotten back, which I'm really proud and I'm really shocked that I gotten that far, but
I am too.
Yeah, it took a lot of work and a lot of math and fact checking and making sure this is exactly the person I'm looking at.
Right.
And but that's one of the big challenges. Another challenge is just a lot of ancestors you can't talk to now because they're not with us anymore. And so getting that information was difficult. Like I never got to talk to my grandfather on my dad's side, and that information would have been really valuable.
Helpful,
because we didn't know anything about his side of the family. But through my ancestry and my hard work I had to do, I found a lot about his family that we didn't know existed before that.
That's amazing. And 1792, you said?
1795.
That's amazing. Let me tell you, when I started going on my little journey to uncovering my family, I found that I was able to locate a lot of stuff online. The problem that I was having was a lot of they were sharecroppers in Virginia. A lot of them did not know how to read or write. So though I would find their name, I couldn't find any other information about them because they all just signed their name X's on a lot of things, you know? So trying to dig deeper into like the census report, or where did they live, what if they own property and things of that nature was always shut off because of the fact that they would give like the name, but I didn't know if it was actually the person because of the way the signatures and all of the further information was provided. So I find that to be fascinating that you were able to go back as far as 1795. So in that, did you find photos? Like what did you find from that time period?
Yeah, so from that time period specifically, it was really one document that, and this happens a lot, one document that leads you to something and another document leads you to another thing. It was a Civil War, I don't remember if it was like a pension check or it was something to do with the Civil War enrollment basically. And it said that it listed my ancestor's name and then his father's name.
Right.
And by doing the calculations of like, oh, if he was born at this time, then his father must have been around this time.
Right.
And, doing the calculations there, you could find that he was born in 1795. So there's not a census that has that on it, but from calculating back, if he's this age at this year, you can subtract it and figure out when he was born, which would be 1795.
That is amazing. So what was the most surprising thing that you've uncovered about your family line?
So like I was saying before, my grandfather, he told his family he was an orphan.
Okay.
And so we never knew anything about his parents or if he had siblings or aunts or anything. So through my research, I was actually able to find his mother's name, his father's name, his grandparents' names, his aunts and uncles, his great-grandmother, and where they lived. And they lived in Harlem. And we knew he lived in Harlem, but we never knew he had family there. And that's probably the most surprising thing. And from that research, I've also found living relatives that are descendants of him that we didn't know existed, other Ridleys that we thought we were the only ones.
Wow.
And actually recently I've reached out to them and waiting for their contact and to see if they respond and if you can connect with them. But that's probably the biggest surprising thing I found. The other thing is on my mother's side, in my family reunion book, my aunt Naomi, she wrote about how our great-great-grandfather, he was on the Walters plantation.
Okay.
And this is in North Carolina. And she wrote this story about his life basically, and he ran away from the Walters plantation to the Dupree plantation and to go meet with his future wife Isabella.
Okay.
And he did this so many times that eventually they sold him to the Dupree plantation. And then they got married and they had all of their kids and they had kids, and that was so interesting to me because that's such a pivotal moment of his life that changed and led to all of us being born and all that. So that was really, really interesting to hear about.
That is fascinating. Did you go back to North Carolina and kind of trace? So tell us a little about that.
Yes. So this past summer, I was actually able to go to Edgecombe, North Carolina, which is where my family was from. I got to go meet with a local historian and ask her and see some local books about the area. I was also able to go to the house that because they were sharecroppers as well.
Right.
My grandmother and her 11 siblings, they were all sharecroppers. And so I got to see the house that they lived in, and it was still there. We couldn't go in the house because it's
Owned by someone else.
Yeah, it's owned by someone else, and it is really old. So like the foundations were unstable, so you couldn't walk. You probably shouldn't walk in the house. But I was able to see the boss's house, the sharecropper boss house, and see the area that they grew up in, and see the field, and see the cornfields and cotton fields that they were there and they were working.
Chase, how did that make you feel in that moment? I mean, you have to transport yourself back to that time in some form or fashion. I think I have when I've gone to visit, you know, my great grandmother or grandfather's home, and to see it in its dilapidated state, but still seeing the life in it. What did you feel?
I was amazed and so shocked, and you know, it was unreal seeing it for the first time. So I've seen pictures of it, but being there and being able to like touch the wall that they did, and it was unreal. And taking pictures and, you know, making sure I documented that stuff was important. But it really made me feel connected with them, and just amazing that because they had 12 siblings, so they were there, they did homework there, they played there, they played hopscotch there, they had dinners there. And the cool thing about the house was looked like it was untouched basically since they left. And so like one of the doors were open, so you could sort of see inside, and you could see it was like a painted pink and white wall, and just imagining all the stories and stuff that were in there. Yeah,
I love that. I think that would just be an amazing moment to experience and to just feel their presence in that moment. Did you find any of your relatives that you actually look like, that it's like, oh my God, you look like great Uncle Bubba? Did you find anything like that?
Yeah, I think on my mother's side, I think more so. I could see some more resemblance. My great grandfather, I could see some resemblance in like face shape and maybe nose as well. Yeah, I definitely see some resemblance. Also, like I can see resemblance from my parents to their grandparents and stuff. I can see resemblance in them as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Knowing what they sacrificed, because I feel that they sacrificed a lot. They sacrificed their freedoms, the love that they had for the people that they wanted to really be with, and not ended up with that person. The sacrifices that they had to make. How does that make you feel now? I mean, you're standing on their backs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? What do you hope to do with this information that you've gained, and not in just sharing it with others, but actually utilize it to empower yourself? How do you expect to use that?
You know, finding all this stuff that adds purpose to your life and adds purpose to what you're doing now, and because it shows that all the struggles and all the success that your ancestors had to go through to get to where they are, to get to me basically. And it shows that all this hard work that you should continue and do great things, and keep up that resilience that your ancestors had.
Yes.
Like for example, on my father's side, his grandmother, they came from St. Vincent, and they stopped in Panama. And like you mentioned about the Panama Canal,
Right.
He worked on the Panama Canal there, and as an African American in Panama, they didn't have the best structures and living environment there, and that must have been really, really hard for him. So just knowing that, and then obviously from Panama he came to Detroit, and that whole journey must have been really tough for him back then, and especially this is like the late 1800s. So this is really difficult, but it gives purpose and meaning to what you're doing now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Do you see like any particular trade or talent that your family back then had that is sort of still present in your family now?
Yes. So interestingly, I never got to meet either of my grandparents, but through videos and pictures, I was able to actually find that we both share a connection to photography and videography. So my maternal grandfather, he had those VHS tapes. I was talking about the video
Right.
camera, and he recorded tons of videos of my sister when she was born to when she was walking,
Right.
to Thanksgiving parties in the 80s and the 90s, and just going out, and because I never got to see them, hearing his voice for the first time, and
Right.
you know, seeing what he was like, and I could really see that in him.
Right.
And then on my dad's side, seeing my grandfather on his side, you know, I never got to meet him, and I got to hear his voice yet, and just seeing like older pictures of him when he was younger,
Right.
and it was really nice to see that we have that connection. And my dad still takes pictures and videos, and just past that trait being passed on to me, you know, it's really nice to see that we have that connection.
Wow, that is awesome. So, how did you go about the research? How did it start? Like, I know you said you did the ancestry, but what were the steps for others out there that are interested in doing that? What were the steps? Because you've got a lot. He came with a full notebook, and unfortunately, we couldn't show the actual notebook, but he did pull a few pages out just to show you guys. So, share with us, how would you begin that process?
Yeah, so I did it through Ancestry.com. That was the way that I found accessible to me. And so really, the main thing that really helped me on Ancestry is the census. For example, like this is the 1930 census for one of my relatives. And the census gives you a full breakdown of a lot about your family members. Like it gives you their name, the address sometimes, the age, their job, if they can read or write, if they attended school, the birthplace of their parents, the birthplace, their birthplace, if they were born in America, and what jobs they had. And it gives you a lot of information. So starting with the census, I think, is a really great way to start because that gives you a lot of information. Building off of that, you can get marriage certificates, death certificates, birth certificates. All of those things help you build your tree and, you know, piece the puzzle pieces together.
Right.
Another way you can get information is talking to your relatives, which I've been doing recently. And like I said, I have a interest in photography and videography, so I've been interviewing my older relatives and asking them questions and recording it and documenting it, so for future generations as well as now, so that you know we can hear that story, their stories, and remember their stories, because they're so precious and so interesting.
I think that's fabulous.
yeah.
No, that is important, and I'm glad that you're doing that. And it's so funny because that's exactly the steps that I made to uncover my great-great-grandparents was to go through the census.
Yes.
But again, it was very limited. I don't know if it's because it's Virginia, but it was very limited because a lot of the information wasn't complete. It's like they had their name, not necessarily their address, and then just all of these X's, you know, so I didn't know how to piece those things together, but now I know who I can go to get that information. So what about the marriage certificates? Are you going down, contacting the state that they're in, or you got contacting the historians? Like, how did you get that information?
So Ancestry.com, there's other websites and stuff out there to do the similar things, but Ancestry, they have a really cool thing because it is a subscription,
Right.
But you're able to see the marriage certificates on Ancestry and actually see the original documents. So what they do is they scan the marriage certificates and census records, and they upload it and index them, they call it, and like write all the information. And so that's ways I've seen it. Like I've gotten my great-great-grandfather's marriage certificates, my third-great-grandfather's marriage certificates. And you know, it gives you information. One, it gives you the date, it gives you their spouse, and sometimes it gives you the married couple's parents as well. So you get a lot of information can come from marriage certificates as well. But recently I've actually ordered a record because sometimes on Ancestry they don't show you it, they just give you the information. So ordering documents as well through your local websites or wherever your family was from, that's another way you can get information about them.
So it's been since 2021 that you've been on this journey.
Yes.
How much, I know the book is large, but how much have you actually uncovered? Like, when do you think you're going to be complete?
So I think about that a lot, and you know, I really enjoy finding out stuff and doing this, so I hope it never ends, and I don't think it will, because every time I think I got to the end of this. This is all I could find. Like I was saying, my grandfather's side, at one point I didn't think I could find his mother or father, and I was like, okay, I think this is it. This is just, we don't know who his parents are.
Right.
But just going back, taking that break, and then thinking, oh, maybe I could check newspapers and see if there's newspaper articles about him, about maybe his parents were mentioned in the article, and then finding that, and then building on more stuff.
Right.
That's.
So this is never ending.
No, yeah, I don't think it's gonna end. And
He's gonna have 4 books by the time he graduates from college.
And
that's amazing.
Especially because, back then they had so many kids, 12, 11, 13 kids. There's so many people out there, just people that have stories and interesting stories out there that I want to know about. So I don't think it's going to end anytime
Has this
soon.
brought your family closer? I mean, now you've sparked, something in them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what has this done for the relationship and your family in general?
I think it's helped get people interested, and it's people are interested in my older relatives' stories and stuff now, and they really listen, and because I've also listened to them a lot more, so I'm able to retell them, and they've asked them questions as well.
Right.
And then my cousin, who's also interested in doing Ancestry with me, she's also helped me talk to my grandmother and ask her questions as well. And we're all interested in this and learning about it now, so it's really impacted us in a positive way.
I think that's beautiful. I remember when I was growing up, and my grandmother did, she used to want to share stories with me about the past. And, we're teenagers. We don't want to sit around with no old person and talk about, stuff that happened 20, 30 years ago before I was born, and not understanding the value in that. My grandmother is no longer here, and now I miss those opportunities, I wish that I would have sat there and listened to her stories, because that also keeps them young, in addition to the fact they're instilling so much in you that's going to grow you and help you and make you have a deeper understanding of, your roots and where you came from. So knowing that now and what you're doing, how do you think that this is going to change you, in the future?
So I think it's gonna help me and future generations as well. Like I said, I recorded a lot of these interviews, and one of the last questions I always ask him is, what advice would you have for a future generation? And the relatives that I've been able to interview have given such important information. Like, for example, get your education, start with that, and then build on wherever you want to go. Always have some pocket change. That was something my grandmother always told me.
You said you like money. That's right.
And because I'm recording this, I hope in the future as well that future generations could benefit from this and see the value and see the benefits that they could gain from listening to these stories.
Yeah. Is there any one particular, other than the money part, any nuggets that the people that you've been interviewing have really stuck in your mind?
Resilience. That's something that I found in a lot of their stories. My grandmother and her siblings, I think it's such an interesting time period of their life, of coming from growing up on a sharecropping farm and farming cotton and going out and, if they wanted some chicken, they had to go out back and go get the chicken, or if they want milk, they had to go milk the cow, and such a simple yet hard lifestyle.
Yes.
But then changing into their older lives to coming to New York and living in the big city and, finding a job there and getting a car for the first time. I think that's such an interesting point of time. And you've had to be strong to get through that stuff and learn all these new things, learn how to use a phone and learn how to drive and make your way around the city. So that's something that I found. Resilience is something that almost all of them I found have resilience.
I love that. Well, now that you're on this journey, do you feel a huge responsibility? I know you're sharing it with everyone, but now you've gotten them interested. You know what I mean? So now they're going to be expecting you to tell them something new every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. Do you feel this is now? Because like you said, you don't know when it's going to end. I'm sure you're not going to get bored with it, but you're talking about money and business and all this. I don't know, college is coming, you're going to be in a different state. But do you feel a responsibility to keep this alive?
Yeah, I see. But it doesn't scare me to keep it alive. It inspires me to keep going and wanna next Christmas. Oh, let me get this ready. Let me try to figure out this so I can show them this new thing that I've discovered. Like for this coming Christmas and Thanksgiving, I wanna compile the videos that my grandfather had and make it easier and accessible for people to watch. And that's the responsibility keeps me going and motivates me to keep going.
And I know, speaking to like your grandmother and things like that, it's just warming her heart, you know, and she's being able to spend that quality time with you. Whereas, you know, for most teenagers, we just see you at holiday time and on your birthday, and here you're having really deep conversations about her life and her past. I know it just warms her heart. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I try to make an effort to go not just during Christmas or Thanksgiving, and really talk to them because they have so much to share and so many stories, and so I find it really interesting. And I think it's really nice to hear them, talk to them, and ask them questions, and I think they really enjoy telling their story too.
Well, let me ask you, how does your research connect with the larger story of, well, you just said it, Black resilience and achievement? Knowing that you're seeing and you're showing the resilience through the research that you've done of your people, on a broader sense, what does that mean now for the future? What will you want to now instill in your children and your children's children, or even people that you don't, not even your children, just the Black young men that are in your world? What would you like to do?
To instill that your ancestors had a hard time, and they had to go through a lot to get to where you are now, and that you should keep going and do as much as you can with what you've got, and because they did as much as they could and they probably had a lot less. So you need to, take advantage of that and be grateful for what you have now, because they most likely didn't have anything near a cell phone or a car or anything like that. So being grateful for that and taking advantage of that is something that I think is important for young people to understand now. And just taking and respecting your elders and listening to them, and listening to their stories, because sometimes, like you were saying, you don't want to listen to, oh, it's just boring story or something, but there's something in there that was meaningful to them, that they wanted to remember and wanted to retell. And I think that's something that young people need to understand.
No, I agree with that, and I think it would help them identify more of who they are. We're all just living in the moment, but we all had a past, and we should at least try to uncover a little bit about our past to see how it informs who we are right now. You could have came from a line of burglars and thieves and killers, and you could have came from that family line, but maybe you could be the person that changes that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't continue those generational curses by just not wanting to uncover your past and not facing the real future that you have. So go ahead.
Yeah, and even the curses, but also the success, keeping up the success that your ancestors had. Like my grandfather, the feat of traveling, immigrating from St. Vincent to Panama and then to Detroit, that was such a impressive success that he had, that keep it up and just keep up the success, and keep up the hard work
The
that your
strength that
ancestors
they
had.
had to have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The mindset
Yes.
that they had to have. And they didn't know any different and didn't have any other choice but to do that. And that is what the resilience in it is so amazing. It really, really is. And it clearly shows that that's what you have as well. You have a lot going on, my friend, but yet you find time to balance it and you make it seem so effortless. And so I think that actually is because of where you came from. You know what I mean? So let me ask you, is there any particular historical figure, any one of your ancestors that you would like to meet? If you could meet one person today, who would that person be?
Wow, that's hard, because there's so many. I guess one maybe I'll say two. I'll
Okay.
say two. One of them would be my grandfather, my dad's father, just because his side is so interesting, and we knew nothing about it, and just to ask him like maybe why he said he was an orphan, why didn't he explain about his family? Was there something that happened, or like what else do you know? And talk to him because he was a photographer, and maybe ask him about his photography and stuff, and that would be a really interesting conversation. And then I don't know, I think maybe my great grandfather Papa, my grandmother called him and stuff. He just had such an interesting life because his parents were enslaved, so he was that first generation of sharecropping, and he grew up. I think he grew up with his parents being enslaved, so that would be an interesting conversation and talk to him and really understand what it was like back then. But I would really like to talk to all of them. and
Oh, look
just-
how he lights up saying that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel the same. Like, I know at least 2 or 3 people from my family line that I would really love to meet and just hear their story,
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you went back as far as 17, you said 95,
Yeah.
right? Were you able to also uncover like their slave owners and things like that? So you were, okay.
Yeah. So thanks to my aunt Naomi in the family reunion book, she also was like me very interested in ancestry, and she recorded it and typewritten it. Wrote this whole book was all typewrite, written up in 1980s.
Wow.
And so through that, she wrote stories of how, like the Walters plantation, my great-great-grandfather ran away from, to the Dupree plantation, and finding those were really important to me. I'm still working on determining an exact location, but that's something that I really want to find, because I can go there. Like I went to their house, go to maybe the plantation, and really see where my earlier ancestors came from.
Right.
That would be really special, and I'm still working on that. That's one of the things I'm still working on.
I love that. And you said that you've also reached out to a few Ridleys, right?
Yes,
Others. And
yes.
you said no one has gotten back to you?
So yes, on the Ridley side, I haven't got any response yet. But I have gotten on my mother's side.
Okay.
We found out that my grandmother had a half brother.
Oh, wow.
And that he had kids and they had kids and stuff like that. And I found a living relative. She actually reached out to me one day, and her father moved to Venezuela rather than Panama, which is where my grandfather came. And she reached out to me. She explained her story, and she's only speaks Spanish really, so she had to translate it. But she took the effort and actually to find me rather than me reaching out. She shared pictures, she shared her story, and I'm still talking to her today, and it's really interesting.
That's amazing.
And actually, coming up, we're in the works of planning a Dick family reunion in St. Vincent, which is where they're from.
Wow.
So it would to meet even more of my family as well.
You see?
So
So
interesting.
it's opening up your world.
Yes.
Far beyond where you live right now,
Yes.
and the relatives that you have like in different states and stuff. It's opening up your world. I think that's fascinating. I think that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to do this genealogy. I don't want to run into any step brothers and sisters and half brothers and sisters. I think that's the problem. I don't know. My father, was a very good man, was with my mother, but I don't want to know anything about what happened in the army days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let me ask you, do you hope to turn your research into a book, documentary, or other type of project? Because it sounds like you're gathering a lot of data.
Yeah.
So what is your hopes in terms of the packaging of what you have?
I mean, I have my binder that I hope to grow and I guess get more because it's getting pretty full now. But a documentary, that would be really cool to do because I'm recording all these things, and another part of recording is editing. I also love the editing process too, and finding the right music and finding the transitions and stuff. So I definitely could see me doing a documentary in the future of compiling all this information and all the stories. And a book, I could definitely see me writing a book, and I also love writing stories and stuff. So writing is something I enjoy, so I definitely could see that.
And you see the importance of you being this person too, holding on to all of this information, this data,
Yes.
you know, so that when your grandchild is sitting up on your lap
Yes.
and you telling them, look, I didn't want to listen to my people either, but I'm going to make you listen to me.
Yes.
You know now from the core of who you are, what you need to be sharing and honing in on those memories
Yeah.
everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Is there anything that you want to share with us about this journey that you've been on that I haven't asked?
Let's see. I think just I think everyone should try to do some research about your history and really, because it can quickly be lost. Like my grandfather. Like if I didn't do this research, we could possibly never known who his family was, and so just even if it's not getting a whole binder or recording full interviews, just asking a few questions. Like there's a great book I got for Christmas that's like I forgot the exact title, but it was a bunch of questions for your mom or a bunch of questions for your dad tailored toward your relatives, and it just has a bunch of great questions that you could ask them already made, and you could write the stuff down or have them write it down, and just take some piece of history with you for future generations. Because if they are interested and you didn't ask, then you didn't have any of that history. So it's important to have some of that.
I love that. I love that idea of that book that you just shared, because you're right. It's things that we don't ask our parents and our grandparents. We take it for granted that they're here. They're just to take care of us, and you know, we just watch them throughout their day, but we don't really ask the deep questions. You know, their likes, their dislikes.
Yes.
You know, what they've gone through, what kind of pain they've experienced, what challenges do they have in their lives. Like those things are important to know about the people in our lives, because quite honestly, a lot of kids suffer as well. You know, they have mental health issues. They don't know how to deal with the real world, and they hide a lot of things. But if you were to have these discussions with your parents, you might realize that they experienced the same thing, you know, and somehow in some way you can figure out how to navigate that journey now together. You know, you've been transparent, and so you now allowing them to also reveal to you some things that you would have never known. We look at our parents are these big figures, you know, in our lives that all they do is tell us what to do and not say and don't talk and just listen to me. But I think it's so important that we get to know them on a more human and a deeper level. And I think those questions in that book will afford you that opportunity, you know. So I think that's awesome. We're going to have to share that book. So when you get a chance, just send me it. So I want to let people know about it. Well, let me ask you, what legacy do you hope to leave through your work in chasing history?
You know, the legacy that I cared about it, and I really wanted to listen to their stories, share their struggles, but also share their success that they've had. Because, you know, often we focus on the struggles that our family went through, which is true, and it's important to recognize, but also the success that they had, and, you know, document that and continue that success in the future as well, and show that, you know, that I took a lot of work to do all of this, and legacy should be to continue that hard work.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. And you don't find this to be work, right? This brings you joy,
no.
right?
Yes, this is like
exciting.
fun. Yeah, like deciding between video games or ancestry. A lot of times I choose ancestry because it's like a puzzle, and deciding like, whoa, I found it, and getting surprised and actually animated and getting, oh wow, I found this is crazy, or finding a new picture and being like, wait, this is this house, or this is this relative, and like it's so fun to do this.
I love it, Chase. Oh my God, you have been amazing. So real quick, what is new now and next for the graduate, the 12th grader getting ready to go away to college? What is the new now and next for you, my friend? Because I know you're going to be trotting them books wherever you go, and you're going to be sharing it with your college mates. But what is the new now and next outside of that for you?
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to be doing a bit of traveling in my near future. I'm going to be going to Europe for a school trip. We're going to Italy, France and Spain.
Love it.
So that's gonna be really fun. We're planning on going down to Loyola and visit the college as well in Maryland. I'm actually going back to France for a cousin's wedding, so I'll go to France twice, which
Nice.
is really cool. Working on maybe going to Mexico for my graduation.
Look at
and
him.
doing that. So a lot of traveling in the near future. My sister's getting married as well.
Congratulations, sister.
Yes.
Oh,
so having that. So, a lot of big things are happening this year. Obviously, I'm graduating too. So it's a big year.
I love it. I love it. Well, you enjoy everything that you're about to embark on, my friend. Enjoy it to the fullest. I love when young people travel early in their lives because it gives you such a broader experience of the world and you're not waiting until you're an adult to experience it. So I think this is amazing. I'd like to thank you so much, Chase, for being here. You have been a wealth of information, my friend. Now you have convinced me. Don't be afraid. Just get the information, check your genealogical report, do some research, find out about your past. I think it is so important that we do so, and you've done such a great job of doing it. You really have. We definitely have to have you back, okay? When you come back from school, I guess for the first year, we're going to have you back, okay?
That'd be great.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And it is, dare to be the one who uncovers the past, honors the truth, and carries forward the legacy of those who came before us. History isn't just something we read in books. It's living within us, waiting to be explored and shared. By understanding our roots, we gain the power to shape our future. Today, we celebrate those who chase history, who seek the untold stories, connect the dots, and preserve the narratives that deserve to be remembered. Dare to be a storyteller, a seeker of truth, and a guardian of legacy. And that's exactly what our friend Mr. Chase has been doing. Again, I wish I could have showed you guys that big old binder he has, but he has been doing a lot of research to uncover his past, to get a deeper understanding of his family lineage, getting an understanding of where he came from and who he came from and why he is such an amazing young man doing amazing work right now here in the present. He's a resilient young man as well, and I'm sure that was part of your family history and your family lineage. You traveled across the states in order for him to gain a bigger perspective of where he came from. I suggest that we all go out there in some form or fashion and do the same. Uncover the best of ourselves, because that's really what it is. It formed the foundation upon which we stand today. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Your Our Unity. I would like to thank Mr. Chase Ridley for showing up and sharing with us just all that he's been doing in order to keep his family line alive. I want you guys to have an amazing week. We will see you in 2 weeks here on Your Our Unity. And in the meantime, please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. So let's go out there and be some love, share some love, and just live in love. We will see you soon. I love you, and have a good night. Say good night, Jay.
Bye.